Hey, today we're going to be talking about setting boundaries between work and the rest of life. Now, I happen to think that work boundaries are a really good thing. I think it's important to separate work from normal life, and there's several reasons for that. It's important that we rest and recover from the working day. Work is intensive on our brains. It can be very distracting with the amount of messenger services we have going on, the amount of emails. We need to recover and refresh. If we don't, we build up something that's called an allostatic load. That's when all the stress, the adrenocortisol response in our body builds up and our body stops repairing itself. It's really crucial that we do have a rest and recovery time. It's also important that we allow ourselves to experience other things that aren't just the working day. When we're at work, we can get really caught up in stuff that isn't that important, and actually spending time away from work can really inspire us, refresh our batteries, and really get that creativity going. What matters is that the boundaries work for you. They're not about someone else, they're about you. We can use science to guide the choices we make for our boundaries, but ultimately they're the boundaries that we want that will actually work for us. For example, it's useful to know that at 50 hours in a working week, your output will start to stay static, and then anything over 55 hours, it'll start to decrease. It's useful to know that humans aren't brilliant multitaskers, that actually we're more suited to deeper work than flitting between tasks. It's useful to know that a lunch break does an enormous impact on the amount of output you have in the afternoon. That's all great to know, but what you do with it is based on what you want to happen. Boundaries need to have a reason. There need to be something that you want to get out of them. Otherwise, it's another should, another limitation you put on yourself. It's another pressure and another to do. So how can we start to build boundaries that actually make a difference to us? I'm going to suggest there's a series of questions that can change the way you look at boundaries. They go away from limits on your life to actually achieving more from your life. The boundary isn't there to inhibit, it's to allow you to live your life more fully. Here are the 5 questions to ask to help you to put boundaries in place that work for you. Question 1. What's important to me? It completely changes the context of the decision. We're no longer looking at whether you should work or not. You're making a choice between which different things you should do. If several things are important and you want to fit them all in, you look at your time very differently. Ask yourself, what's important to me? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to get out of life? It'll provide the context for all the other decisions you make about your boundaries. Question 2. What boundaries do I want? A lot of the evidence and the research really helps us with this. It is good to have a consistent start to the day. It's also good to have a consistent lunch break. It's good to have a regular end time. But what's important is that you're saying to yourself, these are the boundaries I want to make. It's important because you choose, not someone else. The decisions you make and the choices you make are much more powerful than the decisions enforced upon you. It's about choice. I want these boundaries. These boundaries are important to me because. It's important because you'll put boundaries in place that are important to you. It means you won't just put boundaries in place because you think you should. Question 3. What is this boundary for? This is the why. I want an end time because I want to go out and spend some time with my kids. I want an end time because I want to enjoy the sunshine in the summer. I want an end time because I want to learn a musical instrument. That why is really powerful. It gives you a reason for the boundary. You're doing this for a reason. That's much more powerful than doing it because you think you should. Give yourself that why. I want a consistent start time because I want to get that exercise done in the morning. I want a lunch break because I want to feel energized and like I've got energy in the bank for the afternoon. I don't want to just feel like a drone. And that in itself can be a really powerful motivator. I don't want to feel like this anymore. My life is worth more than this. Find your why. It'll make you put the boundaries in place that you really care about. Which takes us on to number 4. Who is really choosing this? Are you choosing this? Are you the active player? Is this something that you're committing to? Give yourself that responsibility. Also, it can help to give someone else the accountability. I'm choosing this, but I'm going to ask for help. Putting these in place, breaking these previous habits can feel difficult at first. So set yourself smaller goals. I'm choosing to do this one. I'm choosing to end on time for this reason. Pull that responsibility into yourself and make sure that you're the one making the decision. Not because you read it somewhere, certainly not because I told you to, but because you want it there. And number 5, when you're looking at whether it's really worth putting in place, ask yourself, what is the healthiest thing I can do? This question's blown my mind and it's going to feature a lot in the content coming up. What is the healthiest thing I could do? What's the best thing for me right now? What's the best thing for me long term? Sure, I could work 80-hour weeks, but what kind of life will I have? What kind of person will I be? What kind of worker will I be? I certainly won't be my best. What's the healthiest thing I can do? The healthiest thing I can do is put limits in place. The healthiest thing I can do is find balance, inspire myself with things outside of work. That's the best thing for me and that's the best thing for the company. Boundaries feel like limits, but they're not. They're enablers. They should allow us to live fuller, happier, healthier, more successful lives. The trick is to put them in place for the right reasons, to understand why it is you're putting them in and what you want from them. It'll help you to make better habits. The boundaries you make are up to you. The reasons and motivations need to come from you for it to be successful. I hope this really helps you to put some boundaries in place that really work for you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, that like button. Please share with a colleague you think this could really help them to put some boundaries in place too. Drop a comment on what's worked for you, what you found challenging. If you've got any questions on coaching, on training, please do get in touch with me. And until we meet again, take care.